Hello everybody, my name's Kunai Mainika, and welcome back to the unboxing, where today, we're back in the Luffy mines again, because another S.H.Figuarts One Piece subline is beginning, so of course they have to start it with a Luffy. So yeah, this figure has also been incredibly highly anticipated by a lot of the fan base, in part because of some of the articulation changes that the figure makes, and I want to see what my thoughts are on them. And besides, these Luffys are relatively inexpensive, so if I'm gonna get other figures from this lineup, I might as well get the Luffy that goes with them, you know? But anyways, might as well not stall for much longer, because today it is time to take a look at the S.H.Figuarts Monkey D. Luffy from Marineford. Yeah, the big, I guess some people call it a midpoint, but it's looking, it's weird, because it's kind of like the end of the first third, and we just got done with the second third with Wano, and now we're in the third of the story. It's weird. I guess it depends on who you ask. But yes, here we have Marineford Monkey D. Luffy, which will look very familiar if you've picked up some other Luffys. While his color scheme is quite different, from what I can tell, the upper body is almost entirely the previously released Romance Dawn Luffy in sculpt, just with new paint apps, mainly the yellow in the torso, as well as a lot of the scuffage that is kind of shared with a different Luffy figure. I don't think the exact scuffage is different, but if the scuffage is something seen on, I believe it was a Target exclusive repaint of the Romance Dawn Luffy, like a battle damaged version. It was weird, I didn't buy it. But yes, here we have the Marineford Monkey D. Luffy, obviously in his yellow top, though. And also, I think, if I remember correctly, most of the legs are also the same. Basically, the bottom half of the legs are the same as every other Luffy that we've gotten in the line, outside of, I think, the Egghead Luffy. But the main difference here, outside of the new faces and the new colors, are the shorts, which have some new sculpting, which we'll get to. But as you can see, it is in the standard S.H.Figuarts One Piece packaging. It has the little One Piece logo right there with a little bit of a map. You have a window to look at the figure with its faceplates, the figure itself, the hands. Obviously, it's a very sparse, but this is also a $35 figure. I think it's $37, but it's in that $35-ish range, which is as cheap as S.H.Figuarts figures get. So, it's fine. Obviously, unlike other Luffys, it has a mustardy yellow background, I guess to reflect his shirt, though he does still have the little red promo image right here on the side, alongside the general promo image of this figure. Printed on it, as well as a little difference, rather than saying Monkey D. Luffy Marineford, it says Marineford Monkey D. Luffy, which is an interesting choice. I guess it helps to differentiate him from others. I don't remember if Egghead... No, Egghead didn't do that. So this is just new for this Luffy, and I kind of hope that, given the number of Luffys we have, this is something they do for the future, where, like, if they do say an Elbaf Luffy, it says Elbaf Monkey D. Luffy, but, yeah, whatever. Anyways, down here at the bottom you have the S.H.Figuarts Monkey D. Luffy Marineford, all the usual information, where it's made, where it's designed, the stickers of authenticity, and your usual promo images, Bandai, Tamashii, Toei Animation, stuff like that. On this side, you get a look at the figure with all of his faces. Obviously, there's no, like, specialty Luffy expression part, because they're all specialty Luffy expression parts, but as you can see, you have Luffy running with a serious face, a bit of a grin there, a bit more of another serious fighting face with the mouth closed, and the crying face, Monkey D. Luffy Marineford. On the other side, you get a little bit more of the window, Monkey D. Luffy Marineford, and then him doing a sort of gear secondy pose, kind of similar to him with the big wood. I don't exactly remember where it's from. I think it was like just something that he grabbed. But either way, he had like a big wood, and we'll get there. But it's very cool with the Doom there, SHF One Piece, all the usuals. The bottom has Luffy there, Monkey D. Luffy Marineford. The top has the straw hat with the S.H.Figuarts quote cut out, and then the map printing. And then on the back, you have a lot of nice promo images. You've got Luffy doing a bunch of cool action poses, showing off that new posability, showing off all of his new faces and the super modeling. There he is, and then down here is all the legalese, and since this is the American release, that's where the American release sticker is. But that's the box. Might as well get it unboxed here. As per usual, the instructions are going to be on the inside of that flap. But this is everything that comes with the set. Obviously, fairly sparse. but that's to be expected. It's a basic Luffy release, and it's not that much money. Again, it's like $35. I know it doesn't come with stretchy parts, but the quality of everything within the package, I think, is worthwhile enough that it's fine. And besides, this figure is fully compatible with the pre-released Romance Dawn Gum Gum option parts set. So if you're able to find that, you can use those stretchy parts, though they will not have the battle damage. Plus, there's a new effect parts set for Gear 2nd and 3rd that will be coming out very soon. So you'll be fine. And purchasing both of those together would make it the price of a standard release. So it seems to add up. But yes, as you can see, you have a tray with everything that the set comes with. Opening it up. Let's start with the hands, as we tend to do. There are 3 pairs. He comes with fists on out of the package. But he also comes with these grasping hands. Let's get a little closer in. As you can see, is the printing the same on both? No, it's got different printing on the back side of both. But yes, it has this sort of gripping hand sort of look. I think this would go well kind of on his knees. And it works well. I feel like I've seen it before, though. I'm pretty sure it's on other Luffys, probably the Romance Dawn one, which does have more parts, given it has the meat. But, yeah, it looks fine. You also have another similar grippy set, which I'm pretty sure I have gotten before. And the main difference is that you're going to see some of the scuffage by, I guess, the thumb. Again, different on each side, which is nice. Are they consistent? They seem fairly... they're not consistent. They're different printings between hands, but they're similar enough. But yes, these ones are sort of like holding on to the arm or like the knee sort of looks, which I think should work well. I think this probably also will work if you're doing a Gear 2nd on the ground or something. But yes, otherwise I'm pretty sure these are the same sculpt as previous Luffy's. Well, yeah, moving on to the faces, I guess. Obviously has that smile on him out of the box, but then he also has this teeth-gritted face taken directly out of the manga from panels of Marineford, which I'm not really going to talk spoilers in this video, not because of the audience, but because of my editor, who has not gotten to Marineford yet. I hope my editor gets caught up soon, because we will be going a lot over Marineford in the coming months. But anyways, as you can see, it's this sort of teeth-gritted face, which does look fairly generally good. It obviously has some nice scuffage around it, which I do like, mainly above this eyebrow and there. And the sculpting is always pretty nice, and the printing, as has been the case since the Romance Dawn one, looks very good, looks just like Luffy as it should. Alongside that, I believe this is the, I guess, teeth-gritted, or teeth-open yelling face, which is him, like, running towards the 3 guys. Yes, running towards the 3 guys. Again, similar scuffage. Is the scuffage consistent? Let's check. No. Different scuffage, but that's okay. It would have been nice if it was a consistent paint scheme for all the scuffage, but it's about the same place at least, so it's fine. It feels like different drawings, I guess, so I guess that makes sense. The tongue has some fairly decent paint. It feels a little bit light for the back of the mouth, but it's not that noticeable, and otherwise, it does look good. It looks like Luffy. And of course, I feel the standout of these faceplates is the pupilless crying face. Again, I cannot spoil the context, unfortunately, because of my editor. If you know, you know, and it looks spot on. They did the mixture of paint and sculpt perfectly on this. It looks just like out of the manga and the anime. It just looks so good. It's so well done. The way that the subtle 3D is done on the mouth, and then obviously the printed eyes, and the sculpting of like the tears and the snot, it just works so well. And one of this line's best strengths is that it's been really good at capturing the 2D exaggerated cartoony looks and placing them into 3D. They've been doing a great job in this line of that, so I'm glad to see that continue. And then finally, of course, another shared accessory with previous Luffy's. He comes out of the box with the hat on the neck part to keep it consistent with how Luffy looks in this arc. It cannot go on his head, unfortunately. I mean, I guess you could sit it on there, but it's not going to look good. But it is that same sculpt, and it has that sort of light tan paint rather than the somewhat cheesier yellow of the ones that go on the head. It looks nice, and this is a good opportunity to get this part if you haven't gotten other Luffy's, because I believe this part has only ever come with the Egghead Luffy and the Gum Gum option part set Luffy. I think it might have also been in the battle damage one. I'd have to check. But this is another great way to get that if you don't have that part yet for your other Luffys for whatever reason. But yes, that's the accessories. Obviously a very basic loadout, and I'm sure it could have come with other parts, but one, it does have an accessory set coming soon, which I'll see if I get it. I don't know, I might not. But also, this is a very inexpensive release. Again, it's like $35, and in comparison to like other licensed lines that it's going to be sharing shelf space with, at that price is a fairly comparable amount of accessories. Plus, the materials are going to be far higher quality than those other lines. So, I guess let's get into the figure itself to show you that. I guess this is just a little plastic slip. I was going to pull him up by that, but... Anyways, here we have Luffy, and it feels fairly similar to what we've seen before. Obviously, his neck feels a little bit naked right now with the hair as it is, but that's because you're kind of meant to pop the head off. Ugh. Be careful of the little this, because I believe it's the same head sculpt, so it's going to have that little hanging piece of hair. Get yourself the hat. Let's also look at the back real quick. Well, we can slide that on, slide this back on, and then slide back on the head, or put it back on the ball joint. Yes, here we have him fully loaded up. You do kind of want to have the hat on at all times, because otherwise his neck feels a tad long, given he isn't wearing the hat by default. Ooh, that's a bit of a gap. Interesting. But yes, here we have him. Let's do a full rotation so that you can see the sculpt. There's also some nice shading, actually, on the torso and the legs, which I actually kind of appreciate. I don't think it's been on other versions of the figure, which is interesting. Why did I say it like that? Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, it makes sense. He's got battle damage, so it fits in with that battle damage aesthetic, and I think it makes sense. Obviously, let's just a little bit of a farther out look so that you can see his full body before we look closer in at the figure. And as you can tell, if you've seen, if you've been here on the channel, and if you've been paying attention to the coverage of stuff on the channel, this is going to be a very familiar figure, because, like, sculpting-wise, it's very similar to previous Luffys, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It is accurate. It's specifically similar to the Romance Dawn Luffy. Though it does have some new stuff. Obviously, the scuffage on the face and the neck is nice, but that doesn't really translate anything into the hair, and the hair is basically the same, which I wouldn't expect it to not be, but the hat does ride a little high, unfortunately, but that's, again, to be expected. I guess maybe glue it in place if you want. But yes, here we have a little bit of its torso also peeking out of the shirt with a little bit more scuffage, and the scuffage continues on to the shirt material, which I'm glad it was able to get onto that rubbery material that this shirt is made of. It looks nice, and obviously the shading also looks really good where it is. It, again, gives him that dirtied up, battle damaged look, which I wouldn't necessarily want on my normal Luffy, but for this Luffy I think works really well. And the golden buttons work well with the yellow. As you can see on the back, there's a little bit more scuffage just right there. The arms, again, are basically the same. They have that same weird little joint, which is fairly well hidden given its small size. But there is, again, some very nice scuffage. The little darker scuffage here on the shoulder, and then the redder scuffage down on the arm, which is very nicely hatched. And then the little bit more of scuffage on the fists. There's one right there and one right there. And then, obviously, there's more here on this arm. Red to gray to red to gray, which I like that it gives a little bit of difference and variation, though the sculpts are exactly the same as previous Luffy's. They're good. Very good. I really like it. This is a top-notch Luffy figure, sculpt-wise, at least for this upper half as we're used to. But differences really start to become apparent once you get to the legs. These are completely new skirt pieces, which or maybe the crotch might be the same. I could see it being the same. I'd have to pull out the other Luffy, and it is not nearby right now. I probably should have done that. But yes, the crotch could be the same, though it's kind of a non-issue, because the rest of the legs are very different. Obviously, they introduced a thigh cut, and I don't think they did a great job of it. These shorts are not very conducive to that thigh cut look, and it gives it a bit of a weird chopped out look, which I don't super love. Like, I get why it's there. Obviously, it's this style. I think a more basic thigh cut could have sufficed, especially given some of the articulation lower down. I think just a basic cut through the pants would have worked fine. This feels a little bit much, but the paintwork is still great on it. The nice little bits of shading really give it some nice definition, and obviously the short sculpting is still great where it isn't here. And the white is fairly nicely painted. There's a little bit of bleed over here at this lower cuff. But yes, moving on to the back, there's a little bit more to note, actually. There's a little bit more cutout on these, like, flap pieces, which, when fully deployed down, leads to some gappage, interestingly. Obviously, it allows for more range upward. You're not going to be looking at the figure from the back too much, so I don't mind too much, and a lot of people, I imagine, will just have it left up like that. But really, there's no good way to keep it aesthetically pleasing, which is the main point of this cutout, this main, like, movable cutout, which feels a little frustrating. Like, I get it gives more range, but I like more articulation in an action figure, don't get me wrong. It's just a little frustrating, given what we had before. The lower legs then remove us back to normalcy, because from what I can tell, they are exactly the same. I like the scuffage, again, as per usual. There's a bit at the front. There's these two pieces on the knee and then towards the ankle on each side, and then one towards the back of the ankle on both sides. So there's that one there and that one there. But yeah, and obviously the feet also have some more scuffage, but these are the same things that we've seen so many times in this line up to this point that it's not super special. Obviously, if you want more in-depth coverage, I guess, I've covered the other main Luffy molds, and those videos aren't super well edited, unfortunately, but they'll cover it a little bit more in depth, I think. But overall, he's pretty good. I can't quite judge the cut until I get to the articulation, but it makes him look a little bit more awkward, though the extra paint that is afforded to this mold, I imagine in part thanks to its mostly being reuse, certainly helps this figure a lot. It gives it that Marineford vibe really well, and I think they did a good job. But yes, let's talk articulation. Now, to be fair, there have been a lot of complaints about the base SHF Luffy's articulation, but I thought it's been pretty good. Obviously, there's the one main sticking point that people have had, which we're going to get to, but he still moves great, which is why most of this mold is the same one from, like, 4 or 5 years ago. I forget exactly when that first Luffy came out. You can probably check the channel, because I released that fairly concurrently with its release. Anyways, head is on. We got dumbbell joint, I believe, at the top of the head, as well as a bulb joint down here at the bottom of the neck, which allows him to look up that far. Perfect for the falling pose from Marineford. And of course, down that far. It allows for swivels, though when swiveling, be careful to make sure the Adam's apple is still aligned. And tilt side to side. Yeah, and this one I'm having a little bit more trouble keeping the gappage out of there, but yeah, whatever. Shoulders are the same sort of, there's a ball joint in there, and you have like a double hinge system, which is able to go up about that far. Not quite a full T, but close enough. Of course, it can hinge back downward for some reason. And then you have a full rotation at that ball joint. And the second hinge, I guess, acts as a faux butterfly, but it doesn't work super well, in part thanks to the rubber overlay. But it works okay. It works okay as a faux butterfly, but it doesn't work great. Bicep swivel, thankfully. A single-jointed elbow, I believe it is, or I think it's double-jointed, actually. There's a little bit of jointage, or no, it's single-jointed. Whatever, it gets you basically enough range. You're not going to get a full curl, but enough of a full curl. And you have a swivel hinge swivel at each wrist. Torso, upper ball joint, has this ball joint, which allows it to go back a little bit, forward fairly decently, and tilt side to side really well. As well as allow for some swivel. And you get more swivel down at this lower ball joint, which is hidden by the overlay of the shirt, which goes back a little bit further forward decently and tilts a little bit. So full on, you get tilt forward about that far. This is where the copyright is, I guess. Back about that far. And then you can tilt side to side like so. He feels fairly limber, all things considered. He feels a little more limber than I think he was before. I don't know, maybe I'm just playing with him more vigorously. Now, onto the hips. These are the new parts, so let's see how they end up. So kicks forward, about standard, which is good. Back, about standard, which is again good. Out, about standard, which is again good. It feels a little bit tighter, though, which is nice. There's, of course, the main thigh swivel, which is what a lot of people are sticking towards, which is nice that it is up there, a little bit more of a standard place, as much as we'll get to. There's a second thigh swivel, which is a little bit tighter on this figure. Again, some different tolerances. There is a thigh swivel because there's a ball joint up there. And yeah, that's where the thigh swivel was. This mold, people lie about the original Luffy mold, I guess to simplify things. I don't think they're intentionally lying. But it's always had a thigh swivel. It's just not a great one, is the problem. It's just not one that gets a lot of range because of the particular way the shorts work, but it's always had a thigh swivel. People who say it doesn't have a thigh swivel are idiots. But this one just has 2 thigh swivels to solve the problem, I guess. But yes, it's always had a thigh swivel. Shut the fuck up. Anyways, as you can see, the knee also is able to bend with the full range. I think that's slightly more, but it's still not entirely great. It's a single hinge, but it's being stopped by I think it's being stopped by the joint this time a little bit. You can get a little bit more by moving the ball joint that is the second thigh swivel back a little bit to go about that far, which is pretty good for a single joint. And you can't really get much more out of the legs. So you get a tiny amount more range, which is nice. I'm sure will help with crouching poses, but it does leave a gap. Anyways, moving down to the feet, there is a swivel at the ankle, which is very tight. A hinge, which goes down that far, and up very far. An ankle tilt, which is sort of Marvel Legends-y, but goes as far as you need. And then a toe bend, which takes the rest of the flip-flop with it. So, yeah, he is obviously more articulated. Though I guess the main thing I think that depends is, do you think the aesthetic cost was worth it? I'm kind of split as it is right now. I'm not sure I super love the shorts. Maybe I just need to play with this figure more in comparison to other Luffys that I have, mainly the Romance Dawn one, obviously, to see if that thigh swivel works better. But people have complained that because of the thigh swivel, it can't get into a gear second pose. It's more so because of the lack of torso, the slight awkwardness of torso articulation, where it can't fully get the pose that it needs to do for gear second. But anyways, it does have more thigh articulation, it has more articulation in general, and otherwise, it's still the S.H.Figuarts Romance Dawn Luffy mold, which is an exceptionally good mold. All things considered. It looks great, it feels great, it poses great, and they're just adding on to it a little bit, I think. Not without some drawback, but overall it's about as good as previous Luffys. I guess the only qualm with picking it up is that it's not like the Luffy look. It's obviously in a different color scheme with the yellow shirt and the red pants. I think it works if you are in need of a Luffy and you don't want to try to get the previous Romance Dawn Luffy, which I think probably has gone up in price by now. This is not a bad choice at all, because it's basically that old one with a little bit more articulation and as such a little bit worse of a sculpt, but yeah, that's the video. Good figure, especially for its very cheap price. It's one I would recommend to basically anybody if they like the aesthetic. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like on it. Let me know what you think so that I know to make more videos like this. Leave a comment, leaving any of your related thoughts. Go check out the channel for previous videos. I've got a ton of S.H.Figuarts One Piece coverage. I haven't picked up every figure, but I've got a decent number of them, to the point that I think checking out the channel might be worthwhile. And be sure to subscribe for more videos in the future. I've got a decent number of the Marineford figures pre-ordered, so hopefully those will get coverage here in the near future. So be sure to subscribe so that you know when that happens. Otherwise, I'm Kanoe Manika, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye!